I'm about to rapid fire 26 Amazon must-haves that completely change the way that I cook, clean, and store food. No fluff, just the actual goodies here, so let's jump right on in. Starting in at number 26 is something that took me a long time to get, but it is these silicone soup molds. You can store so much more than soup, and then the cool thing about this is once it's frozen, you can pop it out, stick it in a different bag, and reuse these to freeze even more food. It's so convenient. It also has a half cup and a 1 cup measure. They sell these in all different sizes, but this is a must-have for me for freezer meals, storing broth, storing soup, anything that I want to store in the freezer and I don't want to use a separate container for. This is what I use. Number 25 is a set of measuring spoons. Not only that, but these measuring spoons have 2 different sides, one that's long, one that's wide. That way, if you want the standard circle, you can use it. But if you have a jar that the circle one won't fit into, you can use the long one. Or when you're cooking, if you have like a wet ingredient and a dry ingredient, you can use each side. And they magnetize together, which is super helpful. These are also metal, which means I can throw them in my dishwasher and not worry about them shrinking or melting. So that is fantastic. Anything that can go in the dishwasher is what I'm looking for. Next up is really tiny cookie scoops. I've found that making really tiny cookies is very fun, but also this little one is great for if you're making candies as well, because we don't need a huge piece of candy all at once, and then you can just have more. So small cookie scoops, and with the double-sided grip that you can just push instead of the one that has like the thumb. These are the ones that are best for ergonomics, for me at least. Next up is one that's great for the holidays. This is a cooling rack and it's accordion style, so we can lift it up and we can set it at whatever height we want. And then these back pieces just fold right on down. I use this so much when I'm making cookies or multiple other things. This has 3 settings for how far apart they can be, but this is super convenient if you're making even freezer meals. I've done pizza freezer meals and just put them all along here. Strombolis, calzones, so many things. This is so helpful because instead of taking up the entire counter space, which I seem to do often, this helps you elevate and use that vertical space as well. And this is one of my favorites for any time I'm baking in the kitchen. If you're someone who likes to make your own gnocchi, this is a game changer. When you make gnocchi, the traditional look is to have grooves in it, and you can do that a few ways. You can use your thumb to press into it to make just a little divot. You can use a fork, but I like to use the Gnocchi Board because it just makes it so much easier. You just hold it in your hand and then just slide them across and let them go into whatever pile you're making. It's so much easier than a fork. It doesn't hurt your hand nearly as much as continually using the fork, and this is my favorite. So this is a must-have for me every single time that I make gnocchi. We talked about making pizzas, and it goes without saying that cutting a pizza can be more difficult than it's worth sometimes, and what I found is to get a more heavy-duty pizza cutter makes life so much easier. So it has a lot of weight to it compared to your normal one, and I'm able to just slide right through. And so I feel like that helps me be able to cut a little bit easier rather than having to put so much weight on it on my own. So any heavier pizza cutter is the way to go. Number 20 is a pizza stone, and get one as big as you can that'll fit in your oven. I've had many pizza stones throughout the years, and what I found is the bigger the better, because then you can fit more things on it at once. If you get one that's a little smaller, you might be able to fit like 1 1/4 of something, but a little bigger, you might be able to fit 2 of something. So bigger is better when it comes to a pizza stone. Great for not only making pizza, but also just evenly distributing the heat in your oven for if you're making sourdough or anything else that you would like even heat distribution for. This is well loved, so I'm showing you the bottom side, but the top, don't look, it's a mess. Now, if you know me, you know I love to make freezer meals of all shapes and sizes. We already talked about using the soup molds to be able to put the freezer meals in just a Ziploc bag or something, but I really love to make individual size freezer meals, and I like these individual size glass containers. I've been making freezer meals for over a decade, and I used to use plastic containers, and I would have to put them in the microwave because I'd be like at work. I'd put them in the dishwasher and they didn't last. But what I found is these glass ones last really well. There's tons of different brands out there. This is just one of them. But I really like being able to not only have these in the freezer, going straight to the microwave, into the lunchbox, whatever, but you can label these with a wet erase marker, and then it just rinses right off, which is so convenient. So I will always have freezer containers that are individual sized in my house. Now, I don't just make freezer meals that are individual size, I make family size freezer meals as well, and we are just a family of 2, and a lot of the freezer meal containers that you see out there are huge. That's enough for us to eat for multiple days, which means that we're eating the same thing for multiple days, which isn't something that we love to do. So what I've done is I've bought these little itty bitty freezer meals. This is 3 servings for us, depending. If it's something with noodles, it's probably just 2 servings, but if there aren't noodles, this is gonna be 3 servings. And so that's each of us eats dinner and one of us gets it for lunch, is basically how that works out. And I'm able to write on here anything that I want to just with a Sharpie, put it in the freezer. These are disposable, so I can give them to a friend if I want to share freezer meals. And then we don't have to eat through so much of the same thing, which is what we love. I have bought these twice now, and they last a long time because there's a ton in every pack. The first time I bought this was probably 10 years ago, and I'm on my second pack that I got a couple years ago. So I mean, it was like 7 years to use one full pack of these, because I also use glass containers that are this size as well, but sometimes you just need a disposable for the easy convenience or for gifting. These are one of my newfound loves. I didn't know how much I needed silicone spatulas that didn't stop here and have plastic. The plastic ones, the top will often just like come off, and sometimes they're more hard than you want them. So these are firm enough to be able to mix with, but they're soft enough to be able to get all those grooves. They come in a lot of different sizes. I usually use the 2 big ones. Actually, this is my favorite shape, the flat on one side and the round on the other. But if you're someone who does sourdough, this is your spatula. The straight spatula is great to be able to mix your starter in the jar. It's fantastic. All of these are the way that I'm gonna go for spatulas from now on. I don't wanna ever have the ones where the top can just fly off. Now I'm learning how much I love silicone things, and so I got some silicone whisks because I use non-stick pans and I don't wanna use a metal whisk on them because that will scratch the non-stick. And so silicone is great because you're able to whisk without ruining your pan. So I will always have these, and what I've been doing is making sure everything that I buy is dishwasher safe. So little by little, I'm transitioning out everything that cannot go in the dishwasher, and then transitioning in everything that can go in the dishwasher. So a metal whisk, sometimes those rust. So these ones, they're not rusting. I went years without using a butter dish, and with having my butter just in the fridge in its own wrapper, I finally ended up getting myself a butter dish when I redid the kitchen, and I got it black to match, but I've been loving just having a butter dish. This one's bamboo. I stick it in the dishwasher, works just fine. It has the lid, of course, the butter that's in there, and it came with a little butter knife, and we just keep it on our counter and find it so convenient. And I love that after the stick is gone, I just throw it in the dishwasher and it's clean, and I don't have to worry about hand washing it. Similar to with the pizza cutter, weight is on your side when you're working with any type of dough, and so I love to have a very heavy rolling pin because I can put this down on the dough and it does a lot of the work for me because of the weight to it. It's a lot of weight to it. I don't know how much it weighs, but it's a lot, and it's super convenient. I have a bad hand, so if I'm really pushing into a dough that evening, I will be able to feel it, and this makes it to where I don't have to push nearly as hard on any dough, and that is a win for me. This next one is so good that I got not 1, but 2 sets of it. These are my favorite measuring cups. They're the OXO brand. I believe they come in white as well, but they are very sturdy. They're wider than they are tall, and they have a line halfway in the middle of each one of these, so you could use 1 scoop instead of 2. So for example, if I needed 1.5 cups of something, fill it up all the way, fill it up to the line, and we only had to use 1 measuring cup, which is 1 measuring cup to wash. And I just love it. I got 2 because I love them that much. Number 12 is the Ninja Blender Food Processor Combo. Comes with a lot more parts than this. I have a whole separate video all about it, so I will link that if you want to see it. I love this. It has cut down on the amount of tools that I need in my house because it does more things at once and it does small size. I've had it for years and it still works great. When you want a quick and easy breakfast, a griddle is a great thing to have, but not just any griddle. I've had a few griddles and I don't necessarily love them. I like this one a lot because I can just stick it on my stove. It's pretty lightweight, and then when I'm done, I just stick it in my dishwasher. I love that this is so easy, convenient to clean. So I have the flat side here. I have the rib side here in case you want to make like a steak on it. The only downfall to something like this is that it doesn't have high sides, so you wouldn't want to do anything that could potentially run off of the sides. But this is great for when you want a quick, easy, convenient meal without having a whole lot of cleanup. Now I'm a sucker for a good griddle. So I have another one. This is an electric one. I use them for completely different purposes. And this one has 2 different burners, which are induction. I can just put a pot on there if I want to, or I can use the griddle. Cool things about it are it has a high lip. So when I need something that has a high lip, I use this. Or if you're wanting to do something like an English muffin where you usually bake them after, you can put them on the griddle and then add the lid on, and then it bakes all in one and you don't have to dirty multiple dishes. Something else that's cool about this is since this part comes off, you can just stick it right in your sink and wash it, and you don't have to worry about the electrical components getting wet because there are no electrical components on here. I also have a whole video about this one. This was sent to me by a brand and I absolutely love it. It was sent to me a year or so ago and I still use it all the time, and it's one of my favorite kitchen gadgets. We've made it to number 9. This is one of my all-time favorite things to have. This is the Ninja air fryer. There's multiple of them, but I specifically like this kind where you open the top of it. Now, there's nothing in it because we used it yesterday and we use it all the time. I'm a sucker for all Ninja products. They are such quality. Once I got my first Ninja product, which you'll see at number 1, I was hooked. I have a whole video on this if you want to see really in depth, but it does have a basket for air frying and it has the grill portion. It can bake, it can dehydrate. It does so many things, and it's just really convenient to clean because you just pop them out, put them in the dishwasher. This part pops out as well, stick that in the dishwasher. I'm all about getting something where I can put it in the dishwasher. I've had different air fryers before and I was like, why does everybody love air fryers? These are terrible. I had one that looked just like a little oven and it would splatter all over it. It was horrible to clean. And then I haven't had one with a drawer that pulls out, but I've used them and I hate it. You pull the drawer out and then you're down a hand. Or where do you stick it? You need a hot pad and then you can use your hands, but then you have to pick it back up to put it back in. And this solves all of that. You just lift it up and it's done. Easy. Now I didn't want my top 10 to all be small appliances, and so I thought I would put in a few others that are just fun and convenient. So I like to use these spoon rests. Cool thing about them is stick them in the dishwasher when you're done. They're super convenient, they're cute, they match, and I have 3 of them. We always have one out at our coffee station, and these 2 are always for my cooking. Next up is silicone tongs. We have the air fryer. These are very convenient for when we use the air fryer. If you don't just want to pick up the basket and dump, tongs are the way to go. Use them all the time. Of course, silicone. I've moved to like everything silicone because it doesn't rust, it's easy to use, doesn't scratch things, and I love it. I can't mention the silicone tongs without the entire set of silicone everything else. Some of it's in the dishwasher, but the rest of it's here. I just love silicone tools. It's been my obsession for about a year now, and I don't think I'm ever going to stray away from the silicone. Now my number 5 is a bit of a surprise to me. It's something that was also sent to me by a brand a while ago, and had I known this was as good as it is, I would have bought it because they're really not that expensive. It's just a thermometer, and it has this part where you can just like stick it inside of a meat or whatever. I've used it in candy, and the one that I had would like burn my hand because I had to have my hand above it. This one I can have my hand to the side and it doesn't burn my hand because the steam goes up and not at me. And it also has the function where you can take the temperature of an area. So it's got 2-for-1 functionality, keeps my hand from getting burned from steam, and this has been something that now I always use this one instead of the old one. Coming in at number 4, if you've been here for any length of time, you know my love for this mixer. This is my favorite mixer of all time. I also have a KitchenAid Professional bowl lift. I like this so much better. Before buying it, I did a ton of research on bowl capacity, on motors. Big thing about the KitchenAid was that the motor couldn't handle the heavy doughs that I use. This has a DC motor and it's able to. I have a few whole videos just on this. I love it. I've had it for a few years now. I will never go back to KitchenAid. I will always stick with this brand or a brand that has DC motors. I love this thing and I use it all the time. It's also way lighter than a KitchenAid and it doesn't wobble around. So definitely my favorite mixer I've ever had, even though it's an off-brand. I love this. Coming in at number 3, some of you might be surprised that I'm putting this high, but it's a pots and pans set that does not have handles on them, that stack easily and can go in the dishwasher. The reason some of you might be surprised that I'm putting this here is because I melted one of the handles on the gas stove because I had the handle on the pot while it was cooking. I've learned not to do that. It seemed crazy to me that that was a requirement at first, but I've now seen many other brands showing gas stoves without the handles on. So as long as you don't have the handle on while using a gas stove, everything works out perfectly. I love that these take up so little space. They do come with 2 different lids, the lid that you can use while you're cooking, and then it comes with a storage lid. So I can just put the lid on the food and stick it right in the fridge, and this is my storage container too. It saves on so many dishes, and I love that without the handle on it, I can just stick it right into the dishwasher and not worry about anything rusting. These ones also happen to be induction, so I can put them on the induction griddle that I showed you a few items back, and these are just so convenient. I actually really do love them, despite having melted one of the handles. Now for number 2, we need to take a little field trip, so let's go find it. You of course all know what this is. It's a robot vacuum. The brand is Tikom. We love this thing. I think if I were to get another one, I would get it in black, but when I got it, white was cheaper, and I'd never had one, so I didn't know if we would like it or not. We have this thing set to go every single day. So every morning before we wake up, it vacuums, and it not only vacuums the hardwood floors, but it also vacuums the carpeted areas. I was so skeptical about this, didn't think it was going to work, but it's been a game changer. My floors used to be disgusting all the time because I'm not someone who likes to sweep or mop. That thing mops too, and you can set which areas of the house you want it to mop so that it won't try to mop your carpet or anything like that. But I have not done any sweeping, and this is what my floors look like because it just ran on its own this morning. Now, of course, I have areas that I need to get like behind the fridge that it can't reach, but my floor, totally clean, except for we do have this area blocked off because it does have issues with how high these mats are. These are really high mats, which I didn't even put these in there, but this is something also. So if we need a bonus item, this is something I would recommend having in your kitchen so that when you're standing, your feet don't get fatigued or sore. Now, before we get to number 1, I have an honorable mention that I want to show. This is an item that I didn't get on Amazon. I got it years ago. It's not even available anymore, but I just want to mention how much I love having a pressure cooker. This has been so convenient to have for easy meals. All you have to do is throw a base, either rice or a noodle, in the bottom, add a meat, add a veggie, and then cook it, then add your sauce, and you have a full meal without really even lifting a finger. I use this so often. I also used it last night when we used the air fryer. So I wanted to just throw that out there that even though I don't have one that's on Amazon, find one, get one. These are super helpful and convenient. And finally, coming in at number 1, my favorite kitchen product is this Ninja Dual Brew Pro coffee maker, tea maker. It makes all the hot drinks so you can have water come out of a separate nozzle than the coffee nozzle, so it doesn't taste like coffee. We've used this thing multiple times every single day for over 4 years, and it still works great, and we love it. Any other coffee maker we've ever gotten has broken within a year. So this is my favorite thing that I use every single day. Originally, when I was thinking through all of the items, I was thinking through what I use to cook, and this had just escaped my mind. But when I started looking through all my appliances, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the one that I actually use the most often and that we use the most often in our house. I have a whole video on it, so I will link that video for you if you want to see all the details. But this is my number 1 by far. Now you'll notice that I did not talk about every single small appliance that I have. I do love all the small appliances that I had, but most of the other ones are ones that I could probably live without. If I had these 26, I'm good to go. But I would love to know, what are your top items? What did I miss that you think is a must-have in the kitchen? Leave those down below. I would love to hear them. I'll make sure to leave a link to the videos for all the products where I have an individual video for them in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hype the video if you have that option on mobile, and I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye.